And welcome back to Who When. You'll notice I am late on this. Basically, it's just some things got in the way for earlier in the morning today. Plus, I had to go into work a little earlier than what I've been normally doing. So, yeah, I'm getting them out before the night's over. So it's still Wednesday. And by the way, I'm not high, as someone asked the last time I looked sweaty and disheveled. It's really we got another heat wave going. I'm feeling the effects of it, like physically on my body. I can't wait for this weather to break. But regardless, we're still doing our Who Would Wins, and we're doing the second Planeswalker Who Would Win of the week of Who Would Wins. I always do at least two of them. Sometimes I'll branch out into three. Well, actually, the week of Who Would Wins is really just 1 week. But I usually crank out two of my personal Who Would Wins. Again, just for anyone who needs to know about what a Planeswalker is. Planeswalkers in the game of Magic the Gathering, the trading card game. And it's a strategy game, too. In the lore, and there's lots of lore and history behind it, there are multiple worlds, near infinite amounts of them, called planes, different cultures, environments, creatures, beings, and individuals who can move between these planes are planeswalkers. They're usually stronger than your average mage, things along those lines. And we're on the planeswalker known as Tezzeret, who is a human planeswalker born in Tide Hollow on the Shard of Esper/Alara. Now, Tezzeret was a really tricky one to figure out. The reason for that is this: that he's a planeswalker who wields blue magic. Especially is artificer magic. It's technically, I think, called artificer magic, but I call it artificer. Point being, he manipulates artifacts, which is ergo the technology of Magic the Gathering. Anything like a sword or a weapon is an artifact. Anything like a robotic-looking construct monster is an artifact. Any sort of relic, technically speaking, basically an object is an artifact, usually speaking. A non-living object, anyway. Basically, he has spells that either can forge artifacts, manipulate artifacts, bring artifacts to life, create huge constructs from your scrap bits of metal. But he's, despite this, an inventor on a different plane judged him incapable of science and invention. So he doesn't really have that capability to him. He is proficient in mental magic as well. But he also has a temporal. He's got a primal lust. Primal driving force is a lust for power and knowledge. He's prone to punish people who fail to serve him, but he's also prone to being punished himself. Now, one big thing is that in one of the recent storylines, and when I say recent, it was set-wise, it was at least 3 sets ago, something like that. Point being, for any who know Magic, Kaladesh set, there's something called like the planar portal bridge or something along those lines. I can't remember exactly what it was. Hold on. To get the story right. I got the wiki up for him, so I know the story. But not test the metal. Planar bridge. Now, the planar bridge was destroyed. However, it was part of the ultimate plan of his master, Nicol Bolas. So when we get to him, I'm going to have to figure out a good fight for that guy. But he was able to preserve like the core of the bridge, understood how it worked, and integrate it into his own being. Now, Tezzeret is a human, but he's got a large portion of his body replaced by a magical alloy known as Ethereum. It's essentially almost like a living metal that's integrated into his body. And he is it's a very tough metal, but it's not unbreakable. But the fact is that if he assuming that other metals can function that way, again, it's hot. Assuming that his body functions that way with other artifacts, he can, in theory, as long as he understands how something works, integrate anything into his body and use it. But he has to understand the technological components of it. So he's a very capable individual. Also, I can imagine that he's not bad in a fist fight, given the fact that one of his arms is made of metal. But he doesn't, and he's in pretty good shape for, the parts in that are human. But ultimately, I can't say for certain, because he's actually, I don't think they give an age. They say a lifetime, but that doesn't mean anything, really. But he does look a little older than your normal planeswalker because he has gray hair. He's also dark-skinned. Like he didn't start out with gray hair, but he kind of wound up with gray hair. But he's a very capable and crafty individual. So as you saw who I put him up against, I had to figure out someone when putting up against him who would who dealt similarly in technology, in artificery or whatever it would be the equivalent of, but who he wouldn't just figure out how they worked and then just integrate it into his own being. So I couldn't like put him up against Cyborg. Cyborg I imagine he could figure out pretty easy. I mean, yeah, it's advanced technology, but still, technology and artifacts are the same thing basically. So like someone like Iron Man, him really he'd stall him long enough to figure it out. So I couldn't. I was having trouble. I'm like, why not pit him like up against someone who also can make like minions and things along those lines. So I basically decided to put him up against Eggman, Dr. Robotnik. I'm like, yeah, he's got minions. He's got a lot of like minions too. So when dealing with Eggman Robotnik, we're dealing with a guy in just 1 second. Eggman. Want to get his there we go. You want to just get his wiki up here, and basically that way I can get all of his creations, because I know a good couple of his creations, particularly like Metal Sonic and Metal Sonic, and what was the other one? There were like 2 different Metal Sonics. One is the obvious Metal Sonic, and then there's one that's not quite the same. Okay, you gotta give me something about like his creations or something like that. Okay, friends and allies. No, I don't want not enemies. Oh come on, you're not gonna give me his how many what types of robots he's done? Okay, fine. I will have to go the slightly more irritatingly difficult route on that. Give me 1 second here. Eggman. Ooh. Eggman versus Dr. Wily. So we're gonna go to our good old friends at Screw Attack, who at least gave me gave us the information on that. So give me 1 second. But anyway, he always has like his egg ship or things along those lines, which does have a couple abilities, including like a ball and chain, some rocket launchers. I think they do fire like a buzzsaw out. Anyway, but yeah, and Eggman is a genius. I mean, he's made like an army of robots here. Okay, here we go. So, he's got the egg carriers, things along those lines. I mean, Tezzeret could easily just tear them apart with anything like that. But he's got his egg robo designed for tactical tasks, can pilot vehicles. They're not really a combat type of robot. He's got Silver Sonic, can fly with a rocket shoes, powered by a Chaos Emerald. That was the one I was thinking of, Chaos Sonic or Silver Sonic, which is it's powerful. Mecha Sonic, slow. Oh no, Mecha Sonic was the other one I was thinking of. Slower and tougher than Silver, greater focus on firepower, and can absorb and use Chaos Energy. So he's got a solid amount of firepower on him and power to him. So, and then after that we have, and I'm just waiting for them to have Mecha Knuckles, who fires large rockets. The E101 the Beta Mark II can fly and teleport, which is a big thing. Homing missiles and wide AOE laser beams. I'm not sure what AOE stands for, but not air to surface, no. There's the Shadow androids, but I believe they're prone to Shadow's physical abilities and fire small rockets, but I believe they're prone to glitches, if I'm not mistaken. But then I believe again, just there we go. Yes, here we go. It was Hyper Metal Sonic, I believe is what it was called. Hyper Metal Sonic basically can look at something and absorb all the abilities. True Metal Sonic. Top speed is Mach 5. Has a 255cc 4-valve fusion engine, max output 55 PS /600 RPM, max torque 7.54 kilograms, and a meter. Basically, weapon Sonic's abilities: black shield, maximum overdrive, chest laser. and once again can look at something and integrate its abilities into its own system. I believe now it is Metal Sonic is prone to glitching a bit more because of when he does things like his maximum overdrive, it does like overheat him for a little bit. And again, scan and copy ability, which again he integrates it into himself. He even turned into a giant dragon at one point. His Eggman's, it's got giant robots, things along those lines. So this is going to be one of those fights where basically Tezzeret is going to have to figure out a way to overwhelm his overwhelming forces. Otherwise, he's going to basically be overwhelmed himself. And the initial start would be that, Tezzeret comes in and he is... What's going on? Oh, God. No, not Bob. I care not for you, Bob's Burgers. Go away, Bob's Burgers. No one likes you. Okay, I know a lot of people like Bob's Burgers. I don't. Anyway, Tezzeret's probably standing there, and he's probably calling that Eggman. He's like, "You will not take my egg empire." It's like, "Behold, send in the egg fleet," and sends in like all the minor drones. And Tezzeret immediately is just using his magic to just strip these minor drones away and remake them in his image and make them better with more fire. Like, and then just sends them back. Now you actually have the more powerful bots coming in to attack. And you'll have Silver Sonic. It was Metal. No, not Metal Sonic. It was Silver Sonic. I can't remember already the one I forgot, but the one that's more powerful than Silver Sonic. They'll come in. Metal Knuckles. Tezzeret immediately will come in and just start ripping up. Tezzeret's going to rip apart a lot of the small cannon fodder ones and even the weaker level ones on the spin. Like Metal Knuckles isn't going to stand a chance. That. A 101 Mark II, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, the one that can teleport. That one's going to pose a little bit of a threat to Tezzeret because Tezzeret can't teleport, and teleportation is there's very few individuals even in the magic world that can actually teleport. And teleportation is usually a blue ability, which he does have, which he is a blue mage, but just not in that sense. So Tezzeret's going to probably be taken by surprise, but again, really, he's going to be trading blows with a lot of these guys. Maybe starting to wear out, but he's just going to be ripping things apart and making them his own until Metal Sonic basically gets involved and basically starts copying his ability to recreate and shape. And at that point, Tezzeret's going to have a problem because he could theoretically manipulate Metal Sonic, but Metal Sonic could just remanipulate himself by copying Tezzeret's ability prior. It's all going to matter if he can copy Tezzeret's ability before Tezzeret just tears him apart. I think he would, because he would probably be staring at him from a distance, analyzing him, and then taking his abilities, and then more or less reconstructing him into that giant Godzilla-esque thing you see. And then Tezzeret will try to manipulate him, but it won't work, so then he's going to have to try to figure out some way to take down this monstrosity, all the while he's being fired at and things along those lines. However, he does have some mental capabilities. Now, it's not really telepathy per se. He's got more like mental guards in him than anything else. He's like got pretty sufficient willpower, unless you're going up against an actual true telepath. But he's also hot-tempered, which would probably lead him to get really pissed off and might cause him to make a mistake. Fortunately, no physical attack from Metal Sonic would really do anything, I imagine, in this case, because he'll just manipulate foot comes down, he'll just manipulate a gap in the foot and then just blast it off, tear off the foot, throw the foot back as a monster. Hyper Metal Sonic, it's not Hyper Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic would just remanipulate it, reconstitute it. However, eventually, I think Tezzeret would figure out a way to incorporate a little bit of that system into himself, and then he too would gain the ability to copy things that he sees, or copy abilities and things along those lines, which would make him a feared opponent, really, in Magic community. So now he's copying all of what Sonic, I keep calling him Hyper Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic did, just integrating metal onto him, creating kind of like a big mech, and they're just going to trade blows for a while until he basically decides to blast Metal Sonic away. Now, Metal Sonic will also probably try to counter this. Meanwhile, Eggman is watching this. Just, whoa. I was like, yes, go, Sonic. Go, Metal Sonic, go. They basically blast each other's heads off. Fortunately, Tezzeret's fine because he's hiding in the center of the machine. Metal Sonic's probably not fine. Granted, he's probably not completely destroyed, but he's probably useless at this point. Now, Tezzeret is also probably tired at this point, so Eggman's going to come in and try to just destroy him. And I always make it so these guys can't like go to their different world, planeswalk away or something like that. Ultimately, Eggman would probably use a bunch of missiles, things along those lines, to blow Tezzeret away. And Tezzeret would probably be too tired at that point to really... Because their power all depends on absorbing mana and things along those lines. Eventually, you run on mana in a certain area until that mana basically... It's like a renewable energy source, basically. But you can use up all the mana in one area. So, ultimately, yes, I do think Eggman wins. And Eggman's is far more incompetent than... depending on which version you're watching. If you're watching, like, say, the Sonic from the 90s, not the can-do kids, but the one that's Sonic, got an attitude, the one where it's like, yes, I am Dr. Robotnik. Okay, that's very good. It's like, that's very good. That, if you remember that Eggman was not incompetent. That Eggman actually succeeded in taking over the world. It was like the plot, they had to liberate the world. So ultimately, yes, I would actually go with Eggman because when it's all said and done, I think Tezzeret would even succeed in beating Metal Sonic, but he'd be too tired out and wouldn't have enough power left in him to basically fight off any of Eggman's basically mech suits abilities. So yeah, I actually got to go Eggman in this. Weird as it is, I was like, how did that come to be? I don't know, but that's what I decide. This is what I have decided. So anyway, thank you for watching, though. I hope you enjoyed. If you disagree, sure, by all means. You think it's closer than I made it? I think I'm going to go... I'll go 60-40 on that, because if Tezzeret does still have enough mana to basically fight back, then yes, I think he'd end up taking out Eggman as well. But there's a realistic scenario where he doesn't. I think that's the majority scenario. So, but if you think it's closer or farther than I made it, let me know. Put it in the comments below. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. I'll do a review at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Super, and Magic, what if anything I do on this channel. Put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. I'll be back with a what if. There will be a who would win tomorrow. There's going to be at least a quick Magic video tomorrow. PAX West is going on this weekend. I think it starts today, or I think it starts tomorrow, where we might get some panels. If not, it'll be Friday. But I am planning to do a review of what we get out of that. And then the actual Ravnica previews start next week. So keep your eyes out for those. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you